Hello dear friends, welcome to our exclusive interview with the Australian investor exploring Bali's thriving market. Here in the beautiful area of Canggu, Bali, we're gonna delve into the insights, experiences and secrets of the vibrant world of Bali's investment opportunities. Stay tuned to figure out why it is so attractive for foreign investors to invest in Bali real estate. What's going to happen with the market in the next few years and how to start your investment journey once you decide to tap into that area in Bali. We are excited to have you here today and hear about your experience. As you said, 25 years in the real estate industry. You've been investing in some AI startups and quite moving around, being an expat in Bali. So,
indeed.
Yeah, welcome to today's interview. Yeah, we are happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Jonathan, we all can see how the expat community grows and continue to grow in Bali.
Yep.
Investors from different parts of the world start to look more precisely to the Bali opportunities, right?
Yep.
What is the story with Australian investors? Why do you think they came here and started to believe?
You mean in the past or now?
We can start from the past and.
Okay. Well, it's all lifestyle. People have come up here I've been here with my parents from 1984, which is a long time ago. And we came up here surfing, lifestyle. It's only 3.5 hours from Perth, Australia. So Australians and New Zealanders have been coming here for many, many years and loving it. Obviously, Bali's a magical place, island of the gods. The people are beautiful and they've got a lot to offer us. But over the years, particularly for me, I've had a lot of friends who've invested up here in businesses and property, and it hasn't been secure. The property market's always been a little bit insecure for a lot of reasons, which we don't have to go into. But more recently, in the last 5 or 6 years, the Indonesians have changed the laws. Now property ownership is 100% secure, which is very exciting, and it's been proven in their courts. So if you own a property now through leasehold or freehold, as a foreigner, it's 100% guaranteed. In the past, it wasn't. Someone could just take in who was a local and take it off you, but that doesn't exist anymore. So it's changed incredibly in the last 5 or 6 years. So for me, I came up here earlier in the year. I've been here 5 months this year, just checking out all the laws and regulations of how it works. And for an Australian investor, it's extremely secure. So I've never invested here, and I've been coming here for 35 years. I could have invested years ago. I've never felt safe to do that, but now I'm completely 100% assured Bali is a great place to invest long term. The properties, it's very exciting what you can do up here, and also you can build what you like. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm doing next year, 2024. I'm going to build my own villa for my family and myself, which is very exciting. Yeah, it's exciting. And then also do some rentals for the business side. So that's what I know about Bali, and that's what I've been doing here. Amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like an exciting plans, and a big game changer happened in Bali recently, right? With all the changes in the law.
Massive game changer, and in fact, apart from very early when it was very naive and sort of dreamy Bali, to me it's the best version of Bali I've seen in the last 25 years, because there's less corruption. There's less. You've got free. You've got a surety of title on your properties, so it's really exciting.
Wow.
And actually, in fact, I had breakfast with a property developer from Australia, my mate Dave, and one from the States, JP. And Dave was saying before COVID there was 120,000 expats here. Now there's over 600,000 expats living in Bali full time. Obviously, a lot of those are Russian and Ukrainian who've come here, but I believe a lot of those will actually stay here, or actually then get property here. So it's actually a fundamental change.
Yeah. Talking from your 25 years background in real estate in Australia, what do you think is the main difference between real estate opportunities here in Bali versus Australian market?
Okay, very good question. Fundamentally, before there was no similarity. It was just they were worlds apart. In Australia, it's very secure. You've got title. You can borrow on the properties. There's capital growth. So that's why the investors would invest in Australia. Whereas here, it was very wishy-washy. Now that's changed. So I don't think there's much difference now. I think it's really secure. The returns up here on rentals are very, very strong. 15%. That's after all the costs taken out, which is huge for rental properties. And that's, I believe, going to go on forever.
Yeah.
Because Bali's only going to get more sophisticated, and the infrastructure is getting better, the roads are getting better. It's got fabulous internet. There's some very sophisticated people up here now. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think there's that much difference anymore. People say, and they go, oh yeah, it's so complicated. It's actually not at all, because some companies have sorted it out, and if you invest up here, it's extremely simple now. Yeah.
What do you think are the key factors that Australian investor would prioritize when considering investing in Bali, from the Australian perspective mindset?
Yeah. Well, the same as I had a real estate company for 15 years in Australia, and I've done my own investing in Australia. The first thing we like in Australia, obviously, is security.
Yeah. Number
one is security. You've got to have security of title, security, and also capital growth. That's how Australians make their, not fortunes, but that's how they secure their asset long term. So when they retire, they've got something that's gone up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10s in their life, and then basically they can have a beautiful retirement with complete security of asset. Which so that's what's happening in Australia, and then in Bali, that was never the case, but it is now. It's really changed. So yeah, that's what Australians like. We like security. We like capital growth on our asset. Rental return also is probably the third. So we like a rental return.
Okay.
In Perth, it's only about 3%.
Oh.
It's extremely low rental return. So you really do rental return just to pay your outgoings, and you get a little bit of income. So here in Bali, it's net 15%. It's incredible, and I can't ever see that stopping here. And so yeah, they're the main things, and that's why in the last 5 or 6 years, the Indonesian government have changed their rules and regulations, and so it's fundamentally different. Yeah. Okay. Which is interesting. Yeah.
What do you think? What types of properties in Bali are the most sought after by Australians?
Well, I can only say from my point of view, because I suppose, and my friends, I've got quite a few friends who live up here and have properties. That is slightly different to Australia in some ways. Like here we have in Bali, we have villas, and villa is, it's a different term to Australia. Villa is like a walled compound. So a villa can be quite small here, or it can be quite large. Also, we have apartments here which are for sale, which are more Australian-esque, I suppose, apartments. But we're sort of used to living here as more villa style. And they can be from 100 square metres to, I just saw one this morning, 400 square metres, and one yesterday which was probably 800 square metres. We still call it a villa. So yeah, so that lifestyle. And I think for Australians, depends if you're investing, it's probably the return they're looking for and that capital growth, which is fairly assured. Because if you've got a long lease, 30 years, 40, 50 years, whatever, it's assured. And it's just livability. You come here, you put your stuff in, it's just easy. Australians are quite simple in their lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, I haven't cooked here in 5 months this year. But it's good to have a beautiful kitchen. Yeah, it's good true. Australians love beautiful kitchens. We love beautiful bathrooms. Yeah. And and so this is what they offer up here, and they're really stylish. They look beautiful. Okay. So and a pool, of course. And in Western Australia, where I'm from, we have pool. Everyone has pools because it's very warm there. So we've got the lifestyle gardens, and also what happens up here is you've got staff. Yeah. You don't have to have them, but a lot of people have staff, so it's really easy. You've got someone doing your grounds and your pool, and it's very reasonable. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's that lifestyle thing.
So can we summarize that the most attractive type of accommodation here in Bali is villa?
Villas.
Villas.
Villas, absolutely. Apartments, if the price point was correct, apartments would be fine. But in Australia, the apartments tend to be expensive and smaller. But if you've got a good size apartment here at a very good price, with a good proven rental return on it, easy sell. Easy. Yeah, easy peasy.
Yeah.
So as I said, in Australia, the rental returns are low, 3%, and you've got all these costs involved. So if you can get a good return on your property and someone else is running it and it's easy, Australia's, we're casual, we like it to be easy. And we're pretty cashed up. Everyone works hard, sort of 5 days a week, but they get paid really well.
Yeah.
And everyone's middle class to upper class, pretty much. Even tradies get paid 200 grand a year in Australia. That's Australian. That's an 150,000 American.
Mm-hmm.
Your most basic person would make $80,000 in Australia a year. So everyone's quite cashed up.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah.
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 You mentioned that it's really important. Security is something that Australians would prioritize.
Absolutely.
It's the first point.
First
right?
point.
What do you think? What are the legal aspects that Australians have to consider before investing in Bali?
Yeah. Well, I've just spent 3 months working that out exactly. I'm very interested in the legality of how this works, how strong these contracts stand up, and the titles. And so what Australians, they want security, so they want to know if I'm buying this place, I actually get it, it's in my name, and if the lease is, so most of it's leasehold up here, 30 years, but if you look at the returns, you pay it off, I don't know if I can say the numbers, but sometimes 5, 6 years, 7 years, you pay these properties off up here, and you can come and live and stay yourself. So it's a really good, and Australia also, one thing I forgot, Australians love lifestyle. We're huge lifestyle. We only like to work 5 days a week. We have 4 weeks off a year, long weekends. So my brother lives up here with his wife sometimes. He just pops up. He takes a few days off work and he's up for another week. So that's very common in Australia. So it's very easy, so that lifestyle thing. But security is number one. And from what I've investigated, titles are great. It's very easy to get them leased out. So yeah, I've got no problems whatsoever with it. Yeah, I think it's as secure. It's not as secure as Australia, because obviously Australia is your home, but it's as close as. Yeah, I've got no problem with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it all sounds amazing, security
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
The legal aspects that you figure out right now, right, in Bali.
Mm.
So what are the main risks that Australians have to consider?
The risk obviously is you need to understand, well, if you come up here by yourself and you had some money to invest, it's like going anywhere. Who do you trust? Who do you know? People will try and sell you anything. You know what I mean? So you don't know what the build's going to be like. A lot of the properties, a lot of the builders up here do them very quickly. A lot of developers do stuff very quickly. After 10 years, they'll be pretty run down. So you need to go to an extremely sophisticated builder, and also people who know what they're doing to give you good title. If you go to those areas, you won't have a problem. If you just wander up here with 500,000 Australian dollars and go, I'm going to build a villa, you need to do what I've just did, spent 3 months looking at, not hundreds, but I've at least looked at 50 villas, probably 100 lots of land, and spoke to a couple of hundred people and local notaries who are lawyers, and got the contracts in Indonesian and English and gone through them with a fine-tooth comb, and talked to Indonesian owners, because the Indonesians still own the land in a lot of cases. Who are these people? What do they do? And you've got to work out, oh, actually this is pretty cool. But to do that takes 3 months. And I've worked in real estate for 25 years. So if you haven't worked in real estate for 25 years, you may struggle. So you just need to go to a sophisticated company who knows what they're doing, and you get what you get, and then it's easy. Yeah.
Okay. So we can summarize in a few sentences, right? So investigation is the most important.
Yeah.
Finding a sophisticated company.
Yeah.
Development company.
Yeah.
Correct. And the third, what is the most important to avoid the risks that we mentioned?
Well, a sophisticated company will show you where to put your money, so you get title.
Yeah.
So that happens in Australia. We call it when it goes to settlement. So the same thing happens up here. So you just want to make sure when you pay a deposit, it goes to the right person. And it's very important to Australians, because we're pretty slack, we're pretty cash, but we work hard, and we don't like to throw money away. So so making sure your money is perfectly safe, and then you get what you say you're going to get. I mean, the good thing about here, which is quite cool, like I've been up here for 3 months. It's a bit of a holiday.
Yeah.
I work 1 or 2 hours a day.
Sounds like heaven.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. So you can come up and check it out, and it's actually a bit of a holiday. So it's pretty cool. And apparently, I mean, this is what I've been told, half the people who come to Bali are from Australia.
Yeah.
So, they're probably coming anyway,
Yeah.
So it's no big deal. And yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And also a lot of people have holiday homes in Australia, or they do want something else. I think now you can confidently invest with the right companies up here and actually get a really good return on your property, and have lifestyle. And yeah, it's as it's as good as Australia. One of the negative sides, of course, it's not in Australia; it's up here.
Yes.
So and then you've got to make sure. It depends on the lease length. Depends on how much capital growth you have, but that's a different conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today we are in a beautiful area of Canggu, and so many people decide to invest in this area, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? What are the main differences between areas in terms of investment? Some people prefer Bukit, some people prefer Ubud, some people come here,
Yeah.
and there are so many talks about that topic. So.
Yeah.
Market is changing, prices are changing. What do you think about that question?
The different areas?
Yes.
It comes down to lifestyle. Everyone's different. Everyone wants different things. I like living in Canggu in Perianan, which is the next neighbourhood up. I'm going to probably purchase a villa in I'll build a villa in Perianan. It's just, to me, I like going out to good restaurants. I don't mind going out to a really fun beach club until 2 a.m. once a week. I like going surfing, which is just down the road. But also some people prefer Sese, where you live. Up here it's a bit more quiet. It's rice fields. It's more chilled. You've got to travel a bit further. Then some people like Ubud, because Ubud's you can do there's a lot of yoga retreats. It's probably a little bit more tranquil in terms of spirituality and all that sort of stuff. Just depends what you're into. Then you can go down to Seminyak, which is more sophisticated shopping. Some really high-end restaurants that I've been to. With a friend of mine, she took me out to a couple of restaurants which was good and as expensive as anything. Actually, they weren't as good as Australia. They were better.
Yeah.
They were amazing. And so it's very sophisticated. And then Kuta, some people still like Kuta. If you like drinking lots of beers all day and going to sports clubs, not that I do, and watching the footy. I'm not really into the footy. And then you've got Nusa Dua, which is very, which is quite older, relaxed. And then you've got Sanua, which a friend of ours, Julia, lives in Sanua, and that's just more relaxed, I think. So it just depends where you want to be. And there's tons of other areas. I think it just depends what you want out of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're investing, I think you just got to look at what area you're in. Oh, sorry, I forgot Uluwatu.
Yeah.
I was out there for 25, 30 years surfing, all those beautiful reefs out there. Now it's become a very energetic place to live, beautiful villas, lots of the models live out there. Because it's a very tranquil, beautiful spot, and good restaurants, etc. It's a bit it's too far for me, because I've been there. I was there when it was empty, but some people love it out there. It's got good energy.
Yeah.
So it just really depends on what you want,
On the lifestyle.
Lifestyle, it's 100% lifestyle.
Yeah. If we're gonna take a look at this question from the perspective of rental investment.
Yeah.
So are there any differences between areas of Bali?
Obviously, if you're close to the coast, the beaches, and I've got this from an Indonesian friend who's developing 30 villas at the moment with her sister and her brother-in-law. That's what they've developed, and their number one thing is be close to the beaches, but they want daily rental.
Yeah.
Okay, daily rental gives you maximum return, but also maximum damage to your property, because someone's going to rent it for a day or two. They're going to party in Bali, and you need to fill your places up if you want maximum return. I probably wouldn't do that. In fact, I wouldn't do that myself. I'd probably do longer than 3 days, so you don't get maximum return, but you get probably a better clientele, and then it's all about. It depends what you offer the people. So if people come in and they can get to your property, they're relaxed. Facilities are super important. So if you've got good facilities, people will come and stay. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know, if you go into some very isolated areas, I don't hang out in those places. If there's something to go there for, yeah. But I don't hang out in those areas too much, so I don't know. But the further out you get, the rentals go off. But what happens is the price goes off as well.
Yeah.
So then it comes back to return on investment. So if you're in central Canggu now, it's pretty expensive. people want 900,000 Australian or American dollars for a villa. If you go further out, you might pay 400 for the same villa. So your rental returns, you don't need as much.
Yeah.
So that things. So really what you do is you look at how much money you budget, what can I get for my money? And then you work backwards from there. And if the company you're investing with can then give you some projected rental returns, which are not hard because they're already doing it, you can make your assessment on that for your lifestyle. Because I imagine most people would want to come up and stay in their own villa at some stage. How cool is that? It's great.
Are there any specific features of the local market that is important to know before entering the Bali's investment?
It's pretty much what I've already said. It was very foggy before. Up here, investing in Indonesia, well, not Indonesia at all, sorry, Bali. But they've been pretty much sorted out. They've changed the title. It's in a different language, but
yeah.
Every contract's depends on the person who's selling it to you. They'll be in English. They're pretty simple. You might have read them. They're pretty. There's nothing. They're pretty similar to Australian contracts. They're not difficult. And if your company's organised, you don't have to worry about too much. As long as you've got a surety who they are. So I actually can't think of too many really. It's all pretty straightforward these days.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty easy.
It's pretty easy. Yeah. It's pretty easy. Yeah. My thing is, I even know people who have invested and haven't even come to look at it. I'd definitely rock up and have a good look.
Yeah.
But it's just it's not hard, anymore. People still say, this is the worst thing about it. People still say, oh, it's so difficult investing in Bali. That's actually not the case, because they think, oh, you've got to get a kitash, you've got to get an investment visa, you've got to get all that sort of stuff. Well, if that's already sorted out, that's what I do, and it's actually not very difficult if you're that way inclined. But I've been in real estate for 25 years. If you just want to invest, someone else has done that for you. It's easy. Yeah. So if I built a villa and sold it to someone else, for them it would be simple because it's already been sorted out. And some of the I wouldn't say all, but a lot of the developers now are pretty sophisticated. So I can't see too many issues really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've got to pay for it, of course. So you've got to come up with the money.
Yeah. Important.
Yeah, exactly. Important. Get the money.
Actually, talking about money, so many people asking the same question. We all hear that it's possible to return your investment in 4-6 years.
Yeah.
Do you think it's still possible? And what are the property management strategies that you can recommend to make it possible?
I only can go off my friends they've got a property management department here. They build and develop stuff themselves and for their clients, and I've got their cash flows, and they're pretty stunning. But conservatively, we're saying after all costs, it's 15% return. I actually did this with a friend of mine from Perth. He wanted to pull down the investing in Bali, so we spent 2 hours late the other night. He's one of my investment partners. We went through all the cash flows. He's a very smart guy. He's a lawyer, a chartered accountant, investor, and he likes sort of pulling holes in everything. And after 2 hours of chatting, he went, it's 15%.
50%.
15%. It could be this is conservative. It can be way better. And then so people say you're going to get your money back in 4, 5, 6 years. That obviously, that's if you generalise, that's what it is. So I say 5 or 6 years, just to be on the safe side. 5, 6, 7 years on the safe side, because most people who are doing it at the moment are saying 5 or 6 years, 4, 5, 6 years. Yeah. So, and that obviously depends on how much you buy it for.
For sure.
So that depends on your buy. So if you're getting a good buy, that's less. If you get a good company and there's good numbers of people coming through, it's easy. But Bali, in my opinion, will never stop. There's more expats coming here all the time. It's getting more sophisticated. People who come here love it. There's the occasional person who doesn't like it, but that's just the occasional person, and they don't come back. That's okay. But the people who do love it, because it's got a lot to offer.
This is a good question. Some people consider this situation with the real estate in Bali as a bubble.
As a what? Sorry?
As a bumble. So,
bumble?
Yeah, it's like a real estate hype, right?
Oh, okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
And you just mentioned that you think that Bali will never stop.
Never.
So do you think it's going to be just growing and getting more expensive and now is like the right time to invest?
I think, in my opinion, and also one of my friends who's a developer up here, we think it's just starting. It's what the reasons for this is and there's always some drivers why people invest in areas is you need infrastructure. Okay, infrastructure is very important. So yeah, the roads getting from the airport to here, people whinge about them. I don't have a problem with them really. But that's me. Some people find that difficult. But if you tend to live in your localised area, like you live in Canggu or Perianan or Candidasa or wherever you live, or Ubud. So once you get there, it's no big deal really, and so that's not a big issue. Also, they're at the moment building a world-class hospital in Sanua. So at the moment, if you do get seriously ill, you pretty much have to go back to Australia or Singapore or somewhere else, which can cause issues. But they're building a very large top-of-the-line hospital in Sanua. So once that's completed, that'll just change what Bali is. And I've actually been to hospital here because I got a really bad chest infection. It's probably COVID, and I was coughing away. And the local GP, who was very cool, just at a medical centre, they were great. This never used to happen in the old days. You couldn't even find a doctor. Now they're everywhere. They were great. They said, go down, get an X-ray. My mate said to me, oh, you want to watch out, there's X-ray machines in Bali. I walked in, this place was amazing, cutting edge. They saw me very quickly. I saw a specialist respiratory physician who looked at me, gave me some drugs and sorted me out. And it cost me, $48 or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
which is the money's not the case, but it was just, they pumped it out.
Yeah, they
so
helped you.
They've got that. And also there's very good schools here now. They've got Montessori schools and really great schools here. So that so the infrastructure is getting better. And also this is the most interesting thing that I've found since I've been here, is I went to there's a lot of workspaces. I went to B-Works, and on Tuesday nights they've got an AI, 2-hour lecture from all these crazy AI dudes who, high-end, super intelligent guys and girls who are talking about AI, and they work all over the world. So I actually think Bali's going to become a bit of a hub, bit of a tech hub for people who, and a lot of the expats who are here have burnt out of the corporate life, and Bali's one of those places. When you go to Asia, you go to Thailand, you go to Bali, you might go to Hong Kong, you might go to Tokyo. A lot of people come to Bali and go, wow, this is really cool. So I can work from here, I can actually live here. That might be 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, or full time. And there's some really exciting people here. So this AI night it blew my mind, because I've got a company which is the AI medical, and so I knew the language, and I was really impressed. And I thought, wow, that's going to happen more and more. And these people weren't leaving. So what's going to happen is they're going to talk to their friends, and their friends are going to come.
Yeah.
And I've met a lot of Americans here from Maui, from San Francisco, from LA. They want to live here at least 6 months of the year. So there's other drivers. It's not just Europeans coming here. There's Americans. There's people from everywhere. And they're really pretty switched on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think infrastructure and high demand among the people from tech and
from what side?
From tech, the industry, from
tech,
tech, that will come here soon, and their friends and friends of the friends, they're gonna influence on the pricing of the market and prices in general in Bali, like the demand and development of infrastructure.
The market is the market.
Yeah.
The market is honest. You can't change the market. If you've got more money, you'll have a more centrally located, larger villa. If you have less, the market is no one can manipulate the market. The market is the market. Okay. So that's the way it's always been. I've got some friends who are very good in the business community. That's what they say. The market runs, the market rules. You can manipulate it vaguely, but not really, because what will happen is it's supply and demand. And so if there's too much supply, the market will drop. But in the good areas, it will stay good. If you've got good facilities, it will always be facilities. Like in Australia, for example, the best investment are close to the beach, schools, hospitals, And then around that you get restaurants, that's where it is. And if you go further out, it gets cheaper. It's going to be exactly the same here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, so the market will decide. And then really what you want is past that then it comes again for Australians anyway. What's my lifestyle? You know? And also for me, I'm looking at my children. So I've got some kids who are 23 and 20, 21 and 18, 19. So when I invest, I want to pass that investment on to them. And I think that's completely possible now. In the old days, it wasn't. It was a hassle, maybe, potentially. Now I've got no problem with that. And in fact, I'm going to get them to invest in some villas up here themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for something to do.
Yeah. Talking about the legal side and leaseholds and freeholds, so many investors hearing the situation, legal situation here in Bali, unusual, I would say, right? So
someone outside the country?
Outside the country.
Yeah.
The foreign investors that come and they hear that they're going to have the lease for 30 years and they're like, okay, we invest in so much money in the property that it's not ours. For them, it's important to pass what they own to their kids and continue the life of their investment, right? So what do you think about that? How you can command this situation?
Okay. So one of the main things I did when I came here 3 months ago was get a handle on how the leases work and get a handle on what that means in terms of your asset, what you've got, and get a handle on how that all works. Because Australians, we don't do a lot of leasehold, so we're not used to it. Europeans do a lot more. Some countries, like Scandinavia, most of them are leasehold. So a lot of countries are like that. Australia, we like to own something outright. But if you're going to do an investment up here, it gets paid off in 5 or 6 years' time. So you've got another 25 years to go where it's free, and you can either lease it out or live in it yourself. And then there might be some flexibility on actually extending that lease later on. So and that's what happens. So you have an option to extend that lease, or you can extend the lease potentially. So you might have a 30-year lease, you might have in your contract where you can extend it to 40 years, which is becoming quite attractive. So after 40 years for someone like myself, and so if I get something for 40 years, in 40 years I'll probably be dead, gone to heaven, up there with the angels, which will be beautiful. But my kids have still got, they will have still something which is an investment. So it actually makes it, and also then your returns are much better, you see. So you do get options up here to extend your leases, and that's just another, we won't go into it now, but that's just something else you need to chat about. So that's and depends, say if you're 30 and you're investing, you'll be 60 by the time that finishes, the world's a different place, and I would suggest in that time you would have decided 20 years out or 10 years out that you maybe want to keep it or do something else with it. So life might have changed, you see. Also, if you invest, things do happen in life, and so after 10 years you might go, I want to sell this. And then the market will decide what you get for it, and then there's some asset there, you see. So so personally for me, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Personally, I think for Australians, they would really prefer a 40-year lease to a 30-year lease. I think 30 years is a bit short for us. I'm very comfortable with 40 years, because 40 years is a long time. In 40 years' time, I'm happy with that. 30 is a bit tight for Australians. Our little brains, because we don't have huge brains, in terms of we're quite conservative. And little brains, I mean, we're conservative. We don't like to push out of the box too much. I think Australians would be super happy with 40 years if there was a lease where they could potentially. But that again depends on what you're paying for it. You see, so if you're getting it at a good price, it doesn't matter. So I think they just need to talk to someone who understands the product and understands what they're doing. And I don't think it's difficult. And I've sold real estate residentially and investment-wise for 25 years. And once people get their heads around it, some people will never do it. It's just too out of the box. Some people go, oh, maybe, and then some people go, yeah, sure, easy.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on what you want.
Okay, one advice for the person that is looking into the investment in the real estate in Bali, but still considering and hesitating, what would you say?
And if they're hesitating, there's just a motorbike.
Yeah.
Which is, we do have motorbikes in Bali, which is exciting.
Pretty loud.
Yeah, exactly. We love our motorbikes in Bali. Hesitating. We just need to get more information.
Okay.
Basically, it's about the information, and the information's not that difficult. And then, what am I going to spend? What can I lease it out for? How long before I get my money back? Do I want to go up and use it myself? If you're super conservative, well, you probably wouldn't come up here and invest. You might do something in Australia, but you'll get 3%. Here you'll get 15.
Yeah.
You maybe spoke to your accountant, and your accountant will go, that can't be true. Show them the cash flows, and your accountant will go, oh, actually, this is true. Because I always advise people to see their accountant. I don't think accountants are good investors at all, because most of them aren't very wealthy. But they are good at looking at spreadsheets and telling you if this actually is 15%. It's not 3%. Oh, this makes sense, you see? So you need to get your people you trust. It's all about trust. You get your people you trust. Yeah, and then, to be honest, I've met some real estate agents up here who every single villa they've showed me and every piece of land, it's the best villa in the world, it's the best return, it's the best this, it's the best the other. I say to them, well, I've been in real estate, why are you telling me this? Tell me that. But they just talk the same bullshit. We're allowed to say bullshit in Australia, so I'll use it here. So yeah, I wouldn't advise going to them, but there's some people up here who know what they're doing, but that's the same in Australia. If you go to Australia, there's some chaps and ladies there who'll tell you whatever to get a deal.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. You've got to just do your own little bit of due diligence and be confident. And if someone said to me, shall I do this? I'd go to your accountant, get them to check it out, but you need to, I've got cash flows for all these things, and it's all pretty straightforward.
So the main advice to the person that's still hesitating in getting the investment into the Bali real estate is get more information, right?
Yeah, from people, not from your mates, not from some dude
someone
who reckons he knows everything.
who knows.
Someone who knows, someone who can actually give you solid advice, and they'll look at, mainly reading a spreadsheet. They go, oh wow, this is true, and then speak to the people, and then how tight are these contracts? Well, a real estate company in Australia, if they were selling you something out of Bali, would have done their due diligence. They would know 100% the technicalities of that contract, and they know that the contract's solid, so they wouldn't be selling it because they'll go to jail otherwise.
Yeah.
So if you saw someone in Australia who's going to sell you some product here, you're assured that the contracts are fine, absolutely good, and your money's cool, and what they're trying to sell you is true. And that's I've got no problem saying that whatsoever. Okay. I wouldn't have said that before I came to Bali this time.
Yeah.
Until I did some very deep due diligence.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jonathan.
It's okay.
So when did you come first time to Bali?
I first came here in 1984, which was
a long time ago.
Long time ago, when Legian and Kuta had coconut trees between them.
This is some local joke.
No, that's actually true. It was actually true. Yeah. And the vibe was very similar. It hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
But it's just got bigger. Yeah. It's actually the Balinese people are exactly the same. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think they remained in the same vibe, like so welcoming as it was before, or they changed to more like tourist oriented and money focused?
They haven't changed at all. Mm-hmm. They're based in their culture, their religion, their banja, which is their local. It's like their local council, their local area.
Yeah.
So everything they do is based around that, and the banja is very powerful and there's strong rules. So the Balinese, and they also still own their land, so they haven't been forced out by the white man.
Yeah.
And so they've got strong sense of who they are, which is amazing, and they've got strong sense of what they own. Yeah. So it actually hasn't changed. People decry Bali, it's changed. It hasn't. The people haven't changed at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't sense the change?
No, they're actually happier now.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah, because they actually got some investment, they've got some investment in what actually is produced here in terms of they get taxes, and the local community get a lot more money than they used to.
Yeah.
So they're not here trying to make money off us. They already are.
Okay.
So they're much more at peace. And they are Hindus, so it's a beautiful religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like to work with Balinese people? Like, is it easy to find the common sense with them? Easy to go along with them?
I think, as we saw earlier, you show them a lot of respect. Balinese actually prefer, well, they love money too, but like all of us, but they actually prefer respect
Yeah.
and family over everything. So if you can show them huge respect, that's a fundamental.
Yeah.
So
Community.
no, just, can we do this? Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Give them a tip. Like, for example, Gojek driver, who's a motorbike guy,
Yeah.
he will charge you 15,000 rupee to take you somewhere, and he'll make 80 cents out of that, Australian, which is about 50 cents US.
No way.
Yeah, so giving him a 10,000 rupee tip, which is $1, will change his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got to put it back in perspective, how it works. And they'll be grateful forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yesterday I bought some of these. And I bought some for my daughters and
Yeah.
everything. And the lady wanted $150, which was way too much. In the end, I gave her 65, which was way too much. It should have been 20. But really, that other $30 was really just for her family.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing that we can contribute to their own growth, right?
Yes.
Like, as human beings, we can interact with
Yep.
someone who needs some help, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Respect is incredibly at the core of who they are. So if you start with respect and friendship and hello and thank you, they're very, very beautiful people.
Yeah.
I wouldn't cross them, because as a community, there's not one or two of them you'll cross. There's
Sure.
actually 50, and you'll always lose. So
Yeah.
there's no point trying to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got to be very respectful, follow their rules, and that's why do you find them like they're happy and smiling the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. This is one of the best things in Bali, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And we Westerners actually, I'm going through a transition period of my life where I had a family and now I'm single and I'm doing my own stuff. The thing that I find amazing up here is they're actually, we come here, Westerners can't work out why Bali is so beautiful. What it is the Balinese are so happy with their day. They don't go around whinging and crying and decrying. They actually get up and they're happy for the day. They give an offering to their gods
Yeah.
to say, we're happy to be alive and what we've got.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing for
This is
Westerners.
something to learn from.
Something to learn from.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're very. And I'm not a spiritual guru or anything at all, but that's why we love it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, as we said, we are in Canggu, and it's obviously a huge advantage to have the ocean,
Yep.
right, where where you live.
Yep.
What was the reason why you chose the Canggu area? Like, why did you settle down here?
Well, the fundamental reason for me is I go surfing. This is a
Yeah.
tiny day. Normally the surf is incredible, but I go surfing, so it's a free workout. Yeah. Because
Okay.
this might sound funny, but I'm very vain. I like to look good. Only joking. But no, it's a free workout. So you go surfing. It's something to do. It's some of the best surf in the world, and it's pretty safe along here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's beautiful. So it's based in, for me, surfing. Some people it's not. Some people it's the tropical jungles and all that sort of stuff, or the rice fields. For me, I love the energy. I love the surfing thing. I've done it since I was a little kid. That's why I came here in 1984.
Yeah.
And so I like that. That connects me. But then it's got everything else as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what So every morning I go for a surf.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Amazing.
Unless I'm incredibly hungover from going out too late to Art Marabita or somewhere and being a bit naughty. But hey.
So this is free workout and healing at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what would you say about the lifestyle of the people here? So we already talked about what people do mostly. Like, there are a lot of investors, a lot of IT people working here, a lot of artists, etc. So what is the lifestyle of the community here in Bali beside work?
Okay. That's a big question. The lifestyle, what's the lifestyle? The lifestyle is what I do and what my friends do is you can choose from 500 restaurants. Like up here, These are called warangs. You can have a meal there
Yeah.
for 10 Australian dollars. You can get a nasi goreng for $3, and you can get a beer, because Australians always include beer in your lunch, and that's going to be $8. Or you could go to a restaurant down here, like a Billy Ho. You can have the best Asian fusion food you've ever had for $80
Okay.
for two. Or you can go to a place like Maui in Seminyak, where you can spend $300 and drink some of the best red wine in the world. And so it's got everything for everyone.
Yes.
And then there's really good bars if you like to go to bars, or if you like to dance, you can go out to the really good clubs. But you don't have to. Or you could stay at home and chill. Yeah, you can go to yoga. You could do whatever you like.
Yeah.
You can watch sport on, big screens, and it's everything. But it's all accessible. There isn't 10 places to go. There's endless.
Yeah.
And I keep peeling back the onion, which is basically what I say up here. You peel back the onion, and then you find somewhere else, and then somewhere else, and somewhere else. And yeah, I mean, you live here. What do you think?
I think it's amazing because this reality here is so I would say multi-dimensional, right?
Yeah.
So you can find anything you want,
Yeah,
basically. Right?
anything. And
anything, art, sport,
art,
having
sport.
fun.
Yep.
I know, even filming something. So you are kind of in a place where people meet with different interests and from different life aspects, right? Here.
from all around the world.
From all around.
Americans, French,
Yeah,
Ukrainians, South
Yeah.
Americans.
It's an amazing cocktail.
Amazing, amazing. And most people are very, very friendly and outgoing. And it's
Yeah.
all based at 31 degrees, like we are at the moment, or 30. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's easy. Yeah. It's easy to live. Yeah.
Yeah, we already spoke about some areas in Bali, different areas in Bali, right?
Yeah.
About Uluwatu
Yeah.
and Ubud.
Yeah.
There is a place, Ubud is one of the most famous places to visit when you come
Yeah.
to Bali, right?
Yeah.
So many people choose to live in Ubud, and the area of Ubud calls the heart of Bali.
Yep.
So what do you think about Ubud? Have you been there? How do you like it?
Yeah, I've been to Ubud. I went there 30 years ago. It's still pretty similar.
Yes.
It's got lots of rainforest. It's got very steep hills with beautiful rivers. It's people who like that type of lifestyle have built mind-blowingly beautiful hotels. And there's been a lot of, I suppose, I don't know what this means really, but people who are a bit more spiritual or want to find themselves tend to go up there somewhat and work out who they are for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's really good yoga retreats there. And it doesn't have the congestion of down here. Here's a bit congested. Some people don't like it. I love riding around on my scooter, but some people don't like that. They want it to be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's not where I go, but someone was telling me, our friend Julie was telling me yesterday about a 2-week yoga retreat up there. I'm pretty adventurous. I thought, I could probably do that. Yeah. And also you get into a different mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like doing things. I'm quite busy, adventurous character.
Yeah.
That sort of around here suits me. But I'm going to move over here. This is actually Perianan on the other side of this river mouth. So I'm going to move here, which is slightly quieter than Canggu.
Yeah.
But it's a 5-minute bike ride.
Yeah.
So-
It's pretty convenient here.
Yeah, pretty convenient.
Everything seems pretty close.
Yeah.
Talking about Ubud, there is a place that you, of course, know about, like
Yeah.
Park Ubud,
Yeah.
that people talk more and more about, and it's getting more and more popular among travelers
Yeah.
and investors.
Yeah.
And it's growing, and more people like asking each other, is it worth it to invest in the Park Ubud? What do you think about Park Ubud? Have you been there?
Yeah,
How
I
do
went
you
up
like
there. I went there a few weeks ago, and I was astounded by the development. And it's not really development; it's a lifestyle community. And I met the guy Andre, who it was his vision. He's a beautiful man, he's got a great vision, and so I think it's pretty much got. I think it's got 8 restaurants, and gyms and massive swimming pools, and the
Yeah.
villas are beautiful and comfortable. And I think if you want to just come to Bali and have a very relaxed time, that's what it's designed for. So you don't have to deal with the ins and outs of driving on the streets here in Bali, and because some people find that very harassing for their personalities.
Yeah.
So if you just want to chill and have the lifestyle, it's perfect. Yeah, yeah. So I was really incredibly impressed, and I think so. What they're doing is, and they're sort of supplying a full service sort of investment in terms of people can go there. It's easy. If you're not there, they can rent it out for you. If you're there, you can go to all these different restaurants. I went to a Georgian restaurant.
Oh, amazing.
I know. I'd never been to a Georgian restaurant before, so I went there with Julia,
Yeah.
which was really interesting, and the food was amazing. And in fact, what I did was I did a bit of sneaky marketing for myself, just investigation of what was going on. I saw this lady there with a little child, the kid was about 4, and they were getting an ice cream. So I said, do you live here? She said, yeah. And I said, what do you think? And she said, well, we've tried 5 or 6 different places in Bali. They've tried down here, it was too busy. And then they tried somewhere else, up in Canggu, then over in Ubud. And then they came here and they love it because it's so safe for their
Yeah.
4-year-old. And she said that they love it. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So for someone like me who's interested in why people live in places,
Yeah.
she had no idea who I was. I was just making idle chatter. And she said she loved it. So to me, I thought, oh, well, that's obviously working really well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always nice to ask people, right?
You got to
Like,
ask
what do you
people.
think?
You got to ask people, not staff, not people who are set up. You ask random strangers
From their experience.
from
right?
their experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the pricing was great, and so you could hook into one of those apartments and villas very easily at a very reasonable rate, and you can get guaranteed, appreciation of the asset because they were sold very well.
Yeah.
Initial pricing, and then if you want to rent it out, they rent it out for you. It's easy. Yeah.
Amazing.
I thought it was cool. Yeah, really cool.
It sounds like a pretty closed community. Is it an international community?
Where?
The park Ubud.
When I was there, not so much. It was not so much, not so many different types of people from different areas. But I think what they want to do is they want to mix that up a bit more.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think if people knew about it, this is the interesting thing. I'd never heard about it.
Okay.
And so I think it's very much internally being sold to people they know internal.
Yeah.
Even though it's huge. I don't know how many apartments or villas are there. Do you know?
Oh, they have a lot, like maybe 500.
Yeah, 500. I mean, it's over I'm just making this up. 50 hectares, maybe 40 hectares. I'm not sure. It's large.
Yeah, they are huge.
Huge. Yeah. And it's not dense. It's really spread out. So yeah, and so I think the thing about it is actually discovering that it's even there. I had no idea, and none of my friends had heard about it, but they'd never seen it advertised.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think internally it's being sold to people who know about it, and so for the wider, certainly Australians know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, have never heard about it.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Bukit, the area of Uluwatu?
Yeah.
I've heard it's more popular among Australians because of the surfing and the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
Is it the area where Australians mostly go?
If you're a surfer, yeah, it's one of the go-to places in the world if you're going surfing. There's Hawaii, there's Indonesia, which is out there, Phuket,
Yeah.
and then some of the islands offshore, obviously, which are more exotic, but very isolated. So here going to Uluwatu, I first surfed there in 1984 when I was very young, and I surfed there, all the different surf breaks there, Uluwatu, Padang, being in for 30 years until I destroyed my shoulder kiteboarding.
Oh.
But these things happen. Oh, I just touched the mic. Sorry.
Be
cut that
careful.
out. Yeah. So for Australians, it's just a fundamental. You're going to go to Uluwatu. We know where it is, but also for Americans, surfers, Brazilians,
Yeah.
French. So it's been very popular for many, many years. And then in the last 10 years, it's become a destination where a lot of people have decided to live up there. And I think a lot of the surf has started that trend. I mean, originally, Kuta was very surfer-based in the early days,
Yes.
in the 70s. So Bali's here pretty much because of the surfing community. And then it's just grown out of there. People came here and went, wow, it was actually in the 70s, no one knew about it.
Yeah.
Even though Americans had come here and some Europeans had come here in the 20s and 30s, along with Singapore and Hong Kong. But they were the Bohemian types.
Yeah.
They were living here. But mainly after the 70s it became popular. And then people just liked the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, out there is very magical. It's very beautiful. It's much quieter than in here, but now it's got beautiful restaurants. And when I first came here, it was an hour drive there, just over an hour there and back on a motorbike, because there was nothing out there.
Yeah.
There was a lot of monkeys and some beautiful cows. You know those cows?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're beautiful cows.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they are. They're actually beautiful cows.
Yeah.
That was it really, and some obviously local people. But now it's much more sophisticated.
Yeah.
It's got some of the best hotels in the world out there, and then it's got everything else. So yeah.
All the infrastructure, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot of energy because of the high cliffs. You stand on those cliffs and there's so much energy. You know, and I like the ocean because there's a lot of energy for me, and there it's like double because of the high cliffs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Can you say that lifestyle in Australia and lifestyle here is very similar, and that's why Australians, when they come here, they feel like a bit home?
No.
No, it's not the same.
It's completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely 100. It's so tangential. We do find, because Australians are quite casual
Yeah.
and they're quite laid back, and it takes us a bit to get uptight. Generally, some of us are a bit narky. So the Balinese and the Australians have always got on extremely well because of that. So we sort of relate to each other. Our personalities work quite well because we're sort of quite polite as well. Not English polite. But we're sort of we're quite friendly.
Yeah.
So we can make friends fairly quickly. So we make a lot of the Balinese have Australian friends. A lot of them have married Australian people. So that works really well. But it's very different in terms of culture. Yeah, Australia's quite sophisticated.
Yeah.
It's quite wealthy.
Yeah.
It's sort of Australia's basically middle class and above. There's very few poor people in Australia unless you've got some issues going on with you not being able to look after yourself. Then there's free hospitals and schools are free, and so anyone can go to Australia and make a really good living. It's quite hard to get into, apparently. Yeah. But so no, we come here because we just blend with the people. Like I've been all around the world, and I still find the Balinese are probably the easiest people to get on with in the world in terms of being an indigenous type people. They're not bitter, they're not twisted. In the old days, there was a lot of people from the other islands trying to make money out of you, but that's all stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think that's what it is. We just sort of relate on some levels, and I don't know. And they just we seem to blend in quite well.
Yeah. Interesting question. Knowing more about Australian mindset, as now I know, I think it's really important to ask you, what about taxes? Like, how it works here with the taxes for Australians?
Taxes.
Taxes, yeah.
Okay.
Like.
In terms of if you had an investment property?
Yes.
Okay. Very good question. But you asked about taxes.
Yeah.
So, well, if you get income here, you just got to, you should declare it to the Australian Tax Department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is very important thing to admit.
Yeah. Yeah, you should, exactly. You should declare overseas income to the Australian Tax Department. So, but and with the leaseholds, this is a very good question. And I actually don't know the answer of this, so we'd have to delve a bit deep into this. Actually, no. When you invest through a company, you can you just get your income, and then you just have to pay some Australian tax on your income. But if you kept it local and used that income as an investment as an investment vehicle, you wouldn't have to pay so much tax on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's how it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you just ripped it out, you'd have to pay tax as an overseas income, which is, in Australia we like to tax people fairly strongly. But that would happen in Australia if you make 3% on your income, which is bugger all on real estate. You have to pay tax on that anyway. It's 15%.
Sure.
They would want to take about at least 30% of that. Okay, so it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But if you kept it locally and then you reinvested, there might be but I haven't delved into that too much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I've been looking at it from a company point of view,
Okay.
not so much and I'm not exactly sure how they would structure it in terms of individual investors buying an individual. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that can be worked out later, I'm sure.
Is it easy for an Australian person come to Bali and start the investment process in terms of the visa and all the immigration part?
We just get a 1 month visa, so you can just come up anytime you like,
Okay.
and that can be extended to 2 months anytime you like. I've got a KITAS, which is an investment visa, so I can be here for 2 years plus longer, which is different, more complicated, but most people wouldn't do that. So if you just come up for a month at a time, you can just invest in a property up here, no problem,
Okay.
and then get the people you're buying it from to help you out with what's your tax. This is the appropriate answer. Get them to help you out with your appropriate tax requirements. Yeah, it's not hard. It's all pretty simple stuff.
Okay.
And then you just talk to your accountant back in Australia, and they go, "Oh yeah, this is right, boom." It's not very hard stuff.
Okay.
It's quite simple, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Because if you're interested, you're interested, and then you get the lifestyle. You get a performing asset, and yeah.
How do you think the market gonna change in the 5-10 years? Do you see any future for Bali, like in terms of the market and its change?
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think Bali's ever going to stop. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's going to keep going up the coast. Certain areas will become more valuable because of the infrastructure, and you're close to the surfing breaks. But only certain people like that, not everyone. And then what happens is there'll be other infrastructure. So I don't think it's ever going to stop because there's more expats coming here every year. I can't remember if I mentioned before, I think I did. There was 100,000 before COVID, and now there's 600,000 expats. Of that, a certain amount will stay, and they want to live here because they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people who live here is because they can. And you go, and they probably won't stay here 12 months of the year. They'll probably stay here 10 months of the year. Like I've just had a friend who went to South Africa and Japan and came back for the last month.
Yeah.
And now they're here probably for another 3 or 4 months, and they might do something else. And my friend he's lived here on and off for 20 years. They're going back to Perth, Australia in 2 weeks for Christmas, see his kids, do this, that. And then they will be there for 2 or 3 weeks and then come back.
Yeah.
And then I know he's going to go skiing in Japan, and so
Lifestyle,
it's
right?
not bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a really good lifestyle if you can do it. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, and it's quite good to get out of Bali too. I think staying here full time, it's quite good to get out and then to come back to appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's I think that's one of the beautiful things. So only certain people, and that's the reason why you get a villa here, because you can leave Australia, come up, and go, wow, this is really cool, and come back. So and I think once you did it, you'd go, my God, because Bali has changed. It's got very sophisticated in the last 5 or 6 years, along with Canggu. Canggu's only really been here for 6 or 7, 8 years. Before then it was rice fields. It's got really quite sophisticated. And on the surface you may not think so, but it actually is. It's quite amazing, yeah, what you can do up here, if you want to.
Yeah. Would you like to move here permanently for long term?
Next year I'm planning to come up here for 8 months of the year,
Okay.
because I'm building a villa. I want to build a villa, and yeah, but I'll probably come and go a little bit because it's quite cheap to go home to Australia.
Yeah.
My dilemma at the moment is, do I keep my apartment in Australia or not? So and I'm sort of in a bit of a transition period, so I'm just trying to work it out what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm going to live up here. I like it a lot. I've got some good friends up here now, who I like. In fact, strangely, I probably like more people up here than I do in Australia.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Because they are a similar type of person.
Yeah.
They're quite adventurous, they're very worldly, they're traveling a lot. I've just had a friend who came back from South Korea and Shanghai, so now I'm going, I wouldn't mind going to South Korea and Shanghai. I can speak to them directly. They've just been there. I mean, it's pretty exciting, So yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things. Investment-wise, I'm very excited to start doing some of that myself. And I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I've got three kids, 23, 21 and 18, and I want them to invest as well. I'm going to help them invest up here because
Yeah.
that's how they'll start their wealth creation. I think it's a
Yeah.
really good way to explain to people how to start wealth creation, because and there's lots of different ways to do it, and but if this is a really good place to do it, I think, because you get 15% rather than 3%. 3% is hard work.
Yeah, for
You've
sure.
got to wait a lifetime.
For
It's
sure.
15%. You can actually, geez, 10 years and you've actually made 150%.
Yeah.
It's not hard to work that out. That's net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of my goals, is to get them in, and a few friends are doing it as well. And I'm just excited to lead them along the way to say, oh, this is how we'll do it. You
Yeah.
know? And that's why I'm so interested in the laws and the visas and all that stuff. Because if I know it absolutely as much as a lawyer knows it, then I can talk about it with total confidence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
information is gold.
gold, absolutely gold. And then it becomes easier to make your decisions.
Yeah,
Decisions are never easy, but they're easier.
for sure.
And then you weigh them up and you go, oh, okay, I've got some cash, what am I going to do? And you can really leverage into properties here very easily.
Build or buy?
It depends how crazy you are. Obviously, I've been looking at both. I've seen some great villas that I'd just like to buy.
Yeah.
And everyone, depends how long the lease is left, depends on the price, depends what you want to achieve. If you want to move in a month, you would buy a villa, okay? And if you've got more of a long-term vision, then you've got to go through a bit more of a hassle. You've got to find the land, you've got to work out how to structure it, and then you build your villa. Even up here, they build villas generally in about 1 year. It's very quick,
Yeah.
but it's still about a 2-year process. And it's going to be a lot more hassle because you've got to, you know, so you probably want someone to help you with that immensely. But if you just want a simple solution, you know, I would prefer, depends how much cash you've got too.
Yeah.
I was looking at some villas that I loved, but I don't have quite the cash at the moment to purchase them. So it would be easier to buy and buy some land and then build, but that takes a lot longer. So
Yeah.
yeah, again, it depends what your own situation.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, last question. Leasehold or freehold?
Again, a very good question. Well, leaseholds are much less complicated. Freehold, there's not a lot of freehold around. There is freehold though, but you've got to own it in in an Indonesian company.
Yeah.
And there's with the PMA, and there's some not complications, but it's a bit more complicated how to do that. You'll pay twice as much for the land component, but you obviously get it for it's a 99. It's not freehold's not forever. It's for 99 years. So yeah, it depends on, again. I prefer freehold myself, but it's a lot more complicated. Yeah. But leasehold is much simpler. But on leasehold, you need 30 years minimum. I find 40 years sexy, because I think it's just, as an Australian, we get that more. Yeah,
Okay.
'cause, yeah, that's, and I said that earlier. Yeah, so I think leasehold's way easier. If you want to come and live up here, and you know a lot about like real estate like I do, yeah, you'd go down the freehold rate, maybe. But I don't think you'd get, if you're going to do 10 villas, if you're going to invest in 10 villas here, maybe a couple may be freehold.
Okay.
Yeah, because they wouldn't all be freehold, because you couldn't get it where you wanted. So it's much harder to get. Freehold's really just the cherry on top, if you're that way inclined. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
leasehold's way easier.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Yeah.
All right. Amazing.
Okay.
Thank you so much
so
for
much,
this
Fran.
interview. As we learned, Bali is not just an exciting vacation destination. This is a great opportunity for your investment. Thank you for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for even more interesting content about real estate in the beautiful corners of the world. See you.